007.
What's happening, everybody? It's your man, Dame DNYDC, two mics up, back again, brand new episode. And today, I think we're going to jump into something that I think, really gets overlooked in our community. I think there's some things that we often take for granted. And today's guest is really going to help me really talk about it and hopefully educate and motivate others, in our community to really pitch in, and become a part of this. I don't want to really use the word dilemma, but it really is a problem from my perspective. And our guest today, I saw you, Jennifer, nodding as I was talking, in the background, and I think you would agree, but before we really get into the topic of conversation, please take a moment. One, please introduce yourself and let our audience know who you are, and where you're from, and then we'll jump into Beacon and what it's all about.
Okay. My name is Jennifer Katac, and I'm the executive director of Beacon for English Language and Literacy. And we are located in Bristow, but have our classes in Manassas Park, and online.
Wow, that and ladies and gentlemen, I think you might have missed, what Jennifer was speaking on and speaking to. We're talking about, Beacon, for English language and literacy. And like I said, it's overlooked. And Jennifer, from your experience and your expertise and what you've been doing while at Beacon, first of all, give us a little background history on, how things got started and where Beacon is today.
Well, we're actually turning 30 years old in
Wow.
September, and we
Wow.
started in 1992. Sister Eileen Heaps of the Benedictine Sisters of Virginia started teaching a small group of immigrants in the only space available to her, which was a
Wow.
kitchen in the monastery. And they founded Beacon for Adult Literacy as a secular ministry to provide, English language and literacy services to the Prince William area. And since then, it's just grown and grown and grown, and we always have more students than we have space for.
I can only imagine because like it's ironic. We look at what we're talking about, and it just brings to me. So we just had recently, in the news where we had a group of immigrants that were just basically bust and dropped off here to DC. And I can only imagine, and I mean, I really can't, but because this is in the forefront, like, how does that really play out, or how does Beacon really fall in line sometimes when you have, immigrants and people who have come in here from different countries and different things, visas, passports, trying to get citizenship? How does Beacon tie in, and where can people, maybe watching or listening, maybe come to find some of your courses, or how can they find your courses?
So our website is beaconliteracy.org, and we've actually just updated our webpage to include a select your language button so people can find the
Mm,
information in their own language.
wow.
And in addition to the English classes, we also offer citizenship classes. And we're also there as a resource to the community. So our students come to us with many other questions, and we try to get information they need. They may be looking for a food pantry in their community, or they may be looking for other services within the community. So, with their limited language that they have, they ask the questions that they're able to, and we try to help them and point them in the right direction.
Mm. Yeah, and that's got to be difficult then because, um, with Beacon, as far as staffing, like when you talk about, having so many different, cultures and languages, sometimes, that, this is America. It's the melting pot, and everybody wants to, have that piece of the American dream. How difficult is it maybe, because this is something that we probably just overlook too, from an operation side. How difficult is it for you and Beacon to be able to try to match those type of requests with maybe limited resources?
It's very difficult. It's very difficult, but we do the best that we can, and we do also partner with a number of wonderful organizations, a couple
Mm,
of churches, a couple of community partners. So if we're not able to help them with what they're looking for, we can usually point them in the right direction.
mm. I can man, my heart goes out because I mean this is really something that is needed. Um, and I guess my next question would be then for you at the end of the day, like what is really the overall mission and vision, of Beacon? It's had a great 30-year history. Um, but how can they continue to, move that mission and vision forward, in today's tough times, especially with the pandemic and everything that's hit so many businesses and organizations?
That's a lot of questions. So our vision is to be a transformational English language and literacy program and to lead the way for the residents of the greater Prince William County and Manassas area. So we're trying to empower adult learners to enhance their quality of life, to address their changing needs through English language classes, citizenship classes, employment training, life skills training, and literacy education. We like to throw in digital literacy when we can because that's a part of everyone's life here in the United
Hmm.
States. And then we're looking for well trained volunteers and technology and partnerships to help provide those opportunities to the local residents. People who want to give back can connect with us
Hmm.
and share the services that they provide with our students.
Yeah, and it's I don't want to say it's interesting. Like how much success have obviously over 30 years you've had success, but with the pandemic, has it been a little bit more difficult to get maybe volunteers or organizations, or maybe this is the thing that I really like, I would hope to hear that more organizations and volunteers have really opened up themselves to you and Beacon, so how was the pandemic played a role with what you guys have been doing over the last several years?
That's a really good question. It was very difficult in the beginning for Beacon because we had never offered online classes before.
Mm.
So to move the entire program online, I think was a challenge for both our students and our teachers. Most of our volunteers, or many of our volunteers, are older, and sometimes they're not as comfortable with the technology like Zoom and the online whiteboards and other technology tools. So it was a challenge to move everything online. But what we found, since a lot of the return to person classes, is that the students really wanted those online classes. So we kept those online classes, and we're now offering both because
Wow.
we found that students had better attendance rates. They didn't have transportation issues. They didn't have childcare issues, and they
Mm.
really want to come to class. They're super dedicated, very hardworking, and it just allowed us to have more opportunities to reach more students without the transportation and childcare issue.
Mm. Yeah, it's that's one of those things that you just find ironic, where you actually hear. That's one of the few stories where you hear the pandemic has actually had, um, I guess, the reverse effect, and has really made it beneficial for those, and really has allowed Beacon, sounds like, to kind of take on more uh, from a distance with less. So I mean
Yeah,
that's great. That's been a plus for you guys.
it
Um,
absolutely has. And it's been a little more challenging because we need more volunteers. When we have classes in person and online, those are two different sets of teachers.
mm,
But we're finding people that are willing to be dedicated and do what they need to do to provide this quality instruction to these adult learners.
that just kind of makes me want to ask too. Then, because I mean, I'm feeling a little happy when I hear that. I feel inspired, but I can only imagine in your time and in really Beacon's history, there's had to be some amazing students that have passed through. There had to have been some amazing testimonials that you've probably heard or been shared with you, or maybe you experienced yourself. And before we go on to the break, I just like, if you could take a minute or two, this maybe if you could share a testimony or something that maybe you were involved with a student that was really heartfelt and really, you know, I don't want to say become that American citizen, but really help them get to that point of where they really felt accomplished and that they've done something here, in America.
Okay. So last year we had 425 students from 52 different countries, and we
Wow.
actually have a really good wealth of stories to share. We're running a campaign right now called 30 Stories for 30 Years of Success, which highlights a lot of the students' success over the 30 years. So those can be
Wow.
found on our website or also on our Facebook page, but I pulled a couple aside to just kind of share that with you. So the first one is, and I don't know how much we have time for, so I'll just, you tell me when to stop. The first one is Saima, who is a happily married mother of seven who came to the United States in 2017. She was born in Afghanistan but grew up in Pakistan as a refugee and never had the opportunity to go to school.
Wow.
And she told us that here in the United States she can get her education, something that she would never have imagined at her age, and as an illiterate woman back home.
Wow.
So she said that our pre-literacy classes have helped her to be able to read signs on the road. And she said she loves reading traffic signs while she's in the car with her husband and children. And she really enjoys shopping and reading the labels and price tags at the store. So
Wow.
imagine being here as a new citizen, going into the grocery store and not knowing what anything is, or
Yep.
driving down the road and having no idea where you're going.
Yep.
So, I mean, those are things that we take for granted. But she did say that it's a true, Beacon is truly a beacon of hope for people like her. And she can tell everyone at Beacon that has a sincere intention of helping others. She says we're humanitarians.
Oh,
Um,
without question. Wow.
she says our services are very well tailored for the needs of new immigrants, and the friendly environment has created, especially for people like her, including women, the desire to continue attending classes as long as she is able, so she can fluently read and write, and someday hopefully volunteer with Beacon. So to hear someone come in and not know how to do anything, and she's like, "Oh, this is fantastic! I want to do it, so I can get so good at it that I want to do what you're doing."
That
It
is
really
awesome.
is inspiring.
Do you have one more, maybe a short or brief one, maybe that you can share? Because I think this is really what for me. And when we talked about it here in terms of, like, these are the type of things that, like I say, just go overlooked. Like I said, you're coming, you take for granted, like I said, coming from another country, and we can walk down the aisles of a supermarket, and we can read everything, or we can read the corner, stop signs and things. We just take that for granted. And here, just to hear these things, I just want people to be inspired and know that, these are the type of things that are happening and taking place in our community, and we should really find time to focus and help in these areas if we can. So if you have another one, please.
I
I'd,
do.
Go ahead.
So in 2000, we had a student named Tina who came to us desperate for a way to learn English. She had come to the United States from Iran, and she knew that if she wanted to get a good job, she needed to really learn the language. Over 20 years later, she found one of our tote bags hanging on a hook in the back of her closet, and it reminded her of the program. And she said it helped her so much that she vowed she'd find a way to give back once she found a good job. And she's now the director of patient services at her employment.
Wow.
And as soon as she had that position, she reached out and made a generous donation and started talking to us about the possibility of volunteering.
I mean
So
that.
20 years later, she's remembering that start.
Wow. I mean that is just awesome. Full circle. The beauty of what Beacon is doing in people's lives, changing and impacting people to come back and do things positive, and that is all what this show is about. Jennifer, thank you for sharing those stories. And ladies and gentlemen, look, you guys don't go anywhere because we're going to come right back. We're going to step away for a quick commercial break. I want to go ahead and shout out our sponsors this season 4 of Two Mics Up, and we'll be right back after the break. So what's happening, everybody? We back out the break. It's your man Dame D NYDC. You can see it, Two Mics Up, and I'm here. And please, Jennifer, please correct me. It's Jennifer Katac, correct?
K-Tech. K-Tech.
K-Tech.
Mm-hmm.
She is the executive director, Beacon for English Language and Literacy. We are having an amazing conversation. I am so overjoyed with some of the stories that Jennifer has shared prior to the break. And I'm so proud and inspired to be able to have Beacon uh, here on the show and really just kind of delving in to their programs and services. Um, but I want to go in a little bit further. So let's talk about some of the additional classes, Jennifer, that students can find online or in person that are that you may feel that really serves the greater good of those that are coming to Beacon. Can you share a few of those with us?
Absolutely. So we offer eight levels of English from
Wow.
pre-literacy all the way up to advanced grammar composition. We offer citizenship classes, individualized tutoring, resume workshops, citizenship panels, and employer panels. And then we have those options are available in person in the morning or in the evening or online.
So this is really like because I heard you say resume. I mean, so this is really full circle. Then basically, you're really taking people because I didn't catch that part in our research. So you're really taking people from entry to exit,
Yes.
basically. What I mean, so how long then would you say? And I guess it's probably on the individual, but on average, let's say how long would someone participate in the program or programs that maybe you offer to kind of get from start to finish?
There have been some students that have been coming to us for years,
Mm-hmm.
but we tend to operate like on a school year calendar.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting ready to start our school year, which starts in the fall. So we offer three 12-week sessions, spring, winter, and then, sorry, fall, winter, and then spring. And then we offer a 3-week summer conversational class, but that one is online only.
Hmm.
But there's some students who have been coming to Beacon for years. They come and they do one class, they advance to the next class, they just keep going. After 60 hours of instruction, we retest them to see if they're able to level up to the next class. And then the other things that we offer, like the resume workshops, the citizenship panels, those are just in addition to the classes that they're taking. So they're invited to attend those. And, the students that choose to attend those are usually someone looking to become a citizen or looking for a job. So they want a little extra help with those things.
Oh, I am just so blown away. Um, you know, for you, as the executive director, you may be into a little bit more maybe of the meat, and maybe some of the operations that go on maybe in the background. You know, what would a typical day maybe for Jennifer look like? As you're trying to juggle and maneuver your hat, because I'm pretty sure you wear a lot of different hats. But what would a typical day for you look like at Beacon?
Well, we have a pretty small staff. So it's me, a program manager, and then a part time volunteer coordinator who works remotely. So we do wear a lot of different hats. So a typical day might be, logging in the morning for the online classes to make sure none of the teachers or students are having issues while the program manager is on site checking into those classes. It might be looking at our statistics to give information to our shared services department that helps us write grants to get funding together for these services. I'm also currently researching a couple new ideas of services that we want to offer to the students. So it may just be doing research.
Mm-hmm. So then that just makes me wonder then, what else then would you say from your perspective, like what else can the community do? Or tap or how can you or how can I help you tap into the community further? Like what more can we do uh from volunteering and donating? I'm pretty sure those are probably the top two.
Yep.
But are
So
there
there's a
uh-huh.
lot of different ways to help out. So we're always looking for volunteers to teach classes, to volunteer as substitute teachers, or to tutor one-on-one. We're always looking for employers to be on the employer panel to highlight the jobs they have available, what kind of skills they're looking for. Um, we just started our new fiscal year, and we're always in search of new community partners to help us offer additional services to our students. It may be giving us space, it may be donating funds or becoming a sponsor. And then lastly, as a nonprofit, we're always in need of more community partners. and just individuals who are able to make financial contributions. We actually just kicked off our $30 for 30 years of success campaign. And right now we're looking for 30 new monthly giving donors at a level of $30 or more to help support what we're doing and expand what we're able to offer to our adult learners.
That's awesome. So, and Ken, and I want to make sure, so anybody watching or listening, to this, you can find all of this information online, correct?
Yes, you can
Okay.
go to our website, which is beaconliteracy.org. We're also on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. So if you go to our Facebook page, you can link to the website. If you go to the website, you can link to the Facebook page. All that information is available online. We also have a frequently asked questions for volunteers. So if you're not quite sure that volunteering is for you, you really don't need to have a teaching background. We'll teach you what you need to know. Some
Awesome.
of our volunteers are retired teachers, and others have zero experience coming in. You just have to have the desire to teach a group and to be dedicated and be committed. So all of that information is on our website, beaconliteracy.org, and we would be happy to talk to you guys if you wanted to learn more about participating or supporting our program.
Well, I'm going to make sure that we put all of that. We're going to put your website and all that information, your social media, here in the notes and the description for the episode. I want to
Fantastic.
make sure that our community and anybody watching, doesn't have to be here local to the DMV. If you want to donate, I want to make sure that there's the link and information because this, like I said, is a hugely overlooked a portion of what goes on in our communities and our society as a whole, and the work that you're doing, Jennifer, and the team that you have at Beacon. I think it's amazing. It should be applauded. 30 years. I've lived here in the DMV now almost 30 years. Didn't know it existed until last month. So I felt that it was very important to bring this to the forefront. And before we close out, Jennifer, is there any other information? Or is there any events or anything new coming up online or anywhere that you want to share with our audience before we close out today's conversation?
I'd like to share two things. So you mentioned you don't need to be in the DMV area. So we do have some teachers that don't live in the DMV area that serve as teachers and tutors online. So
Awesome.
if you don't live here in the area and you want to volunteer in that aspect and you want to do online, we need you.
Hmm.
We also have our fall student registration coming up. So if you know of an adult learner who's looking for an English class who could benefit from our services, we have our fall student registration August 1st through 4th. Those happen at our partner sites. There are two great churches that we partner with, and then also Manassas Park Community Center. So that information can also be found on our website, beaconliteracy.org. And there's some frequently asked questions also for the students, so they know what the registration process looks like. Because not speaking the language, going through that process may seem a little daunting and scary for them. So please take a look.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here today on this episode. Please do not overlook the challenges of some, that are here, you know, trying to become citizens. If you find or come across someone, share this information. Hey, look them up, provide the information, provide the link, do what you can to help them, to exceed and to excel. I think it's very important that we stop overlooking this portion of our society and our communities that a lot of us overlook right here in our own backyards. So, Jennifer, I want to say thank you again, for joining me. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another great episode. But before we go, I have a couple of things that I do want to share with you in the news, here at Two Mics Up. Two Mics Up, we are committed to creating something greater. This segment is being powered by Riddick Entertainments. Stay tuned. The Virginia Black Business Expo is coming up August 5th through 7th in Fredericksburg, Virginia, by our friends at the Virginia Black Business Directory. You can go ahead and make sure you get more info. You can see we're going to have some guests, some entertainment, a lot of different events going on Friday night through Sunday. Also, August 12th through 20th, you're going to have some family fun at the Prince William County Fair. Take your family out, enjoy the hot days and semi cool nights at the fair with your family. And our friends over at the DMV Business Crossing Network is having their first annual conference, August 21st from 9 to 3. Uh, you can reach out to our friend Lita Harlem. with info@leaderharlem.com. So go ahead and buy your tickets, man. Come out, celebrate all of these great events that are going on here in the DMV area. Hey, if you have an event or something that's going on that you'd like to share with me and our listeners and audience here at Two Mics Up, go ahead and shoot me an email, vp2micsup@gmail.com. Be happy to get that information out there. You know, we're all about, like I said, making things greater in our community. Last but not least, if you're watching this, Two Mics Up is not only on YouTube, but if you missed it in the beginning, Two Mics Up is now also on Mogul TV. You can go to the moguls.tv to watch more of Two Mics Up for season 4. I hope you guys enjoy all the newest content that we're bringing to you each and every week. If you're here on YouTube, make sure you go ahead and go down there to that side over there, hit that subscribe button, and hit the bell before you leave so you can be notified by all the newest content coming to you from us here at Two Mics Up. Follow us on social media, IG, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at Two Mics Up, all one word. And like we always do, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I hope that you stay safe, stay blessed. Mike's out.
007.